All right, so this video is going over the standing hip flexor stretch. So a lot of times we'll use this if it's too uncomfortable to do it kneeling. So thus we stand up and do it standing. So we have our quad muscles right here, and we have these hip flexors. So they run right underneath your pant, like your pant band, into your quad. So right where you raise your leg from, that's what we're going to stretch out. So if you do a lot of sitting for your job, a lot of times that will get really short and tight. So we need to open it up and stretch it out a little bit. So for the standing version, it's going to look a little funny, but it's still very effective. So I'm going to walk you through how to do it. Before I show you the exercise, I want to explain how to tilt your hips. So when looking at your hips, okay, if I'm standing neutral, if I tilt my hips forward, right, you kind of stick your butt out a little bit, and I call that the J-Lo hip. If you tilt your hips backwards and you tuck your hips under, I call that the Michael Jackson, okay? So you have your neutral hip, you have your J-Lo hip, and you have your MJ hip. So for this exercise, we want to tuck under and have more of a MJ hip, okay? You can practice this on your own. So what we want to do is have one foot in front of the other. So one foot in front, whichever leg is behind, that's the hip flexor that we're going to stretch. Okay, so whichever leg is behind, we want to tuck our hip under slightly. So notice I don't lean over, I don't lean back. I'm just standing nice and tall, and I'm just going to slightly tuck my hip under, and you should feel a stretch in your quad a little bit, and then right up front in that hip flexor. So when you hold this, stay nice and tall, breathe, and it helps to squeeze this glute. So that's one side. You'll switch to the other side. So whichever leg is behind, remember we want to tuck our hip under, squeeze that glute, and you should feel a little stretch right in the front of that hip flexor.